Well, greetings everyone. Welcome to our monthly Small Business Networking event. I'm Jay Moore, and we're coming to you live today from the GoSmallBiz.com offices here in Atlanta. We're so excited to have you with us for this great event, and we hope you're having a great time so far. Our mission at Go Small Biz is to help small business and help business owners connect with each other. And that's what today is all about. So introduce yourself to your fellow business owners before you leave. Shake their hand, learn their name, make a friend, and maybe even a partner. Now we'll be joined in just a moment by our host, Mr. Fran Tarkenton. You may know Fran as a Hall of Fame NFL quarterback with the Minnesota Vikings. But since retiring from the gridiron, Fran has built a new career as a successful entrepreneur and a nationally recognized small business advocate. Fran's joined today by Mr. Craig Binkley, Chief Consulting Officer at Core Strategies, a leading marketing firm. Craig is an authority on brand building as well as strategy, having also served as Worldwide Director of Marketing for the Diet Coke brand while with the Coca-Cola Company. Today, Fran and Craig will discuss strategies for small business owners to build their brands. Also, Fran recently had the opportunity to sit down and chat with Bernie Marcus, the founder and former CEO of Home Depot, and a true entrepreneurial icon. We want to share with you Bernie's take on delivering great customer service. Just another great example of what it takes to run and grow a business. So if you have a few minutes, be sure to watch Fran and Bernie after we finish up this morning. Now, we hope you get great value out of today's event, and we hope you make plans to join us every month for great networking, information, and resources. At this time, it's my pleasure to turn things over to Hall of Fame quarterback and Hall of Fame entrepreneur, Fran Tarkenton. Fran?
Thanks, Jay. Fran here, and I've got a great treat for you people because I've got the best, greatest, most phenomenal brand expert in the world. How about Diet Coke, which just recently overtook Pepsi as the #2 soft drink in the country. Craig Binkley was the brand manager for Diet Coke. He's worked with Coors Light. How much better can you get than that? Dell Computer, Wendy's, and it goes on and on and on. You, as small business entrepreneurs, have never had access to this type of information, this type of knowledge that Craig Binkley has. You might say, branding? What's branding all about? Playoffs? What's playoff all about? Branding is important for Coke and Diet Coke and Coors Light, but it's also important for you, and we're going to talk about that. Craig, welcome. Why is it important for this entrepreneur out there?
Because brand is everything. You know, to too many people think the brand is the logo or the fancy thing they put on their truck, but the brand is everything that the consumer or customer experiences with you.
Tell me a little bit about that. Give me some guidelines.
Well, when somebody buys your brand, it's basically navigation for them. So they want to know what makes you different from any other brand out there, any other offering that
Even though I'm a human, I'm just a person, just an entrepreneur, I'm not Coke, I'm not Diet Coke, branding is important to me.
Absolutely, you're still different. It makes up what you offer them, what the benefit is to them, the experience they have with you. That's all part of how they relate to you and your business as a brand.
All right, I know you've coached me before, because he's my coach too. We all need coaches. Tell me, you got 6 things that I'm supposed to understand about branding that might help my friends out there and me.
Yeah, the branding 6-pack. We all have a 6-pack every so often.
Branding 6-pack.
Yeah, every so often. The first thing is to recognize that the brand is everything. So you may have this great name. You know, we love the names that communicate, Cup of Soup, Whack-A-Mole.
Yeah.
But, you know, you have a great name, a great logo, you've spent some money maybe on a design, you write it on your trucks, but you need to understand that the brand is everything that your consumers or customers interact with you on, as we said before.
What I wear.
What you wear,
what I
how
say.
you look, everything you say, everything you don't say, everything you do and everything you don't do. That's part of your brand in terms of how they perceive you, because they're the ones that actually perceive your brand. You might think you're communicating your brand, but how they receive it is actually what matters.
It's just not having your logo up on a billboard.
Absolutely.
Or in the back of a truck.
Right.
It's I walk down the street.
You walk down the street.
I am saying something about who I am, what my products are.
Absolutely. That's the first thing you need to think about.
Okay. All right, number 2.
Number 2 is differentiate that brand. So when you walk down the street, if everybody's wearing Men in Black, nobody's different. And consumers can't tell when everything's the same. So whether it's some service you provide, some different product that you have, or in fact the total experience with your brand, you need to make sure that what you do and what you offer is different than somebody else.
Just because person B over here has the same products I have, same services, same butcher shop, same dry cleaners, whatever it might be, I should not want to just duplicate them and copy them.
Absolutely.
I got to differentiate myself from them.
You got to differentiate yourself because again, brands are navigation for their decision.
Okay.
And if everything looks the same, it's very hard for them to decide.
All right, differentiation. Got that. No, next.
Last is really, third, not last, but it's last if you're going to stop drinking now and drive home. But the third one is basically your customer. Know your customer. Know who your target is. And all customers are not the same. You have people that are your best customers. You need to talk to them. The ones that love you, the ones that use you the most often.
And when I talk to them, what do I say to them? Do I ask them how they like my product, my service? Give me your input, give me your advice. But then I open up Pandora's box and they're going to tell me everything's wrong with me, right?
It's their perception. So if everything's wrong, you have to deal with that because that's part of your brand.
Yeah.
So everything's not always rosy. There was something happened, maybe a little bit of an issue here. You have to deal with that because that's what makes up part of your brand.
So don't be afraid. Don't be afraid to talk to your customer, even if they can be critical of what you're doing. If you get them to talk to you, you're going to bring them back in, aren't you?
Absolutely. And they're going to tell you what it is they buy in you. They're going to tell you what makes you different than other people. If you ask them, they'll tell you. Customers are pretty good about telling you what they think.
I know they are.
Yeah.
4.
4 is how to communicate with them.
Yeah.
So now you've figured out what your brand stands for and you know who your target is, you got to communicate with them. And there's lots of ways to do that. You can, some companies look at advertising, they look at the Groupons and the promotions and things like that. But remember, there's that big social world out there of them communicating to each other as well. So make sure that you provide the tools to your customers to be able to refer you to other people.
All right. So tell me about tools. You talking about social networking tools?
Well, social networking, it's everything. So, even your card. So when somebody says, I'm looking for a carpet cleaner, have you used anybody before? Make sure that your customers have things available. They remember your name. Again, branding says that they remember who they bought. So when they came and had you clean their carpets and you did such a great job, make it easy for them to refer to somebody else. Have them sign up on your Facebook page if you have one.
Yeah.
Leave your card behind so they can pick it up. Leave the refrigerator magnets. All those things, any tools that you can provide to let them talk to other people.
They'll be reminded. You want them to constant reminder of who you were, what you were, and not just to forget you and go.
Absolutely,
All
because those people can get other people in your franchise.
Yep. All right. Number 5.
Lastly, create create a marketing plan. I mean, a lot of people go out.
You mean a plan?
A plan.
Can you imagine? We're supposed to have a plan.
plan.
We're entrepreneurs.
A plan.
I mean, really.
Yeah, exactly. But it's all about having the game plan.
Yeah,
You can go out and you can start doing stuff. You can start buying stuff. You can start throwing the ball around the field. But if you don't have a game plan, then you really are going to just end up tripping along the way.
Even if the plan's wrong, you'll see it's wrong.
You'll see
if
it's
you have a
wrong.
plan. If you don't have a plan, you don't know whether it's wrong or right.
Exactly right. You get started at least in a direction, and then start executing against that plan. Know what your strategy is, and then execute on it.
I gave you a real good Boone Pickens quote. Boone Pickens is this 80-year-old oilman, billionaire, and so forth. And he says this: an idiot with a plan will always beat a genius with no plan. So Craig, the genius here, tells you and me, we need to have a plan.
Yeah.
This is not a financial plan. It's a marketing plan.
It's a marketing plan.
It's how I am going to the market, what I'm going to look like, feel like, be like, who I'm talking to.
How I communicate. Absolutely, all those.
That's good stuff. All right, we got one more, 6.
Absolutely. The 6th and final toss, if you will, is never get static. You got to basically.
What's that mean?
Brands aren't static. They change. Customers have experiences with them, and so they change. And competition is not static. It's different people, different times. Somebody new comes into the market. The world's changing all the time. So you, as an entrepreneur, as a business person, can't be static. You got to wake up every day ready to change the game and rethink and refresh.
Okay.
What it is you're doing, readdress your plan, as you've said, change things that need to be changed, and then always add more to your customer base. Make sure you're refreshing what it means
And
to
this
them.
is important. I've always said something, people have to talk to people. If I'm going to change and get new ideas, I've got to expose myself to more than my little narrow group who doesn't care much about me anyway. Let's go drink beer together, right?
Absolutely right.
It's got to be, I've got to get ideas from other people.
And as we said, if we're talking to customers and getting that kind of feedback, we've got a plan, we're hearing what the feedback is, we can adjust that plan and add to our success.
All right, you're a creative genius, a lot smarter than me, a lot smarter. But I've always said this, I've never had a creative idea in my life. Everything I've learned about anything has come from what I see, what I hear, what I read. So if I'm going to be relevant and I'm going to be changing in branding and marketing, how I look, I've got to make sure I'm reading, listening to, having access to those ideas that can trigger something, and of course talking to customers.
Absolutely. I mean, we pretend that our relationship with the customer is the only thing that matters to them in the world, but these people are busy. They're out there, they're living their life, and You need to understand the life that they're living and what's interacting with their life, because that's your route to marketing.
Every successful business person that I've come across, and mentors of mine, Bernie Marcus comes to, who started Home Depot, Mr. Sam Walton, who was the greatest business person in the history of the world. Everybody I've ever talked to said they spend most of their time talking and asking questions and listening to customers.
Absolutely.
So you're just reaffirming that.
And we've done that. I mean, again, we're talking here about application to small business, whether it's big brands or little brands. If you don't talk to the customers, then you're never going to know what's really defining your brand to them, why they're using you, what turns them on, what makes them choose you versus somebody else, and how to actually more effectively do that.
And this is what we're going to bring to you every month. You're going to be able to have access to the best thinking of all the great business marketeers that I know. We're going to bring them to you so that you can get more information and more knowledge. Knowledge is power. The only way you're going to get more